Hi, everyone, and welcome to today's episode of the Soul Call with myself, Kelly B. I'm your host, Kelly Butchart, and today I am joined by a super special and beautiful soul. I'm going to read you her incredible bio before I introduce today's guest. Today I am joined by Jenna Asnal, who is an indigo starseed in full service as a spiritual steward and way shower of God, Goddess, and the Christic rehabilitation mission here on earth. She has been in training her entire life and lifetimes for this role, and she is humbled and honoured to be of highest spiritual service during these times of ascension. She is a conduit of source energy, here to assist all souls who have chosen personal ascension in their ability to embody and transmit higher frequency. Jenna offers an array of healing guidance, wisdom teachings, and modalities, all designed to lead one to their highest state of spiritual embodiment through deep multidimensional healing, cellular clearing, self-mastery mentoring, energy body integration, light body and frequency activation, consciousness expansion, and re-education of their innate power and inner God technology. Jenna's mission is to assist in the restoration and healing of the heart and soul of humanity as a cosmic oracle, paving the way for planetary liberation into the golden age by activating remembrance of one's innate love, light, wisdom, and power that each person holds within their inner spiritual temple. A bridge between the old world and the new, Jenna's mission is to help restore love, unity, and the law of one back on planet Earth, while lovingly and gently hand-holding all who forgot who they are and got lost in the dark. Her nurturing, loving spirit and gentle way of teaching and healing allows everyone to feel the presence of our Divine Mother Sophia activating through her spirit, and she has been called an angel of earth by many. Jenna, I got through that beautiful bio with a huge lump in my throat because it's so beautiful. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I am
Thank
so
you.
honoured to have you here and so humbled that you're taking an hour of your time to come into this conversation, into this beautiful space with me. So I know that, I'm joining hearts in harmony here with you and with everybody that's coming to listen. So welcome to this space. Is there anything that you would like to add to that bio, Jenna?
Well, Kelly, thank you so much for asking me to join you in this beautiful space together. It's my honor to connect with a fellow light worker and star seed and steward of light on this ascension journey. And it is just my honor to be of highest spiritual service to anyone who crosses my path. I really am just, excuse me, a conduit of God, Goddess, and all of the work that I do, especially now, has been so that I could free my vessel to anchor more light for humanity during these times. And, I've been working over 13, 14 years on my self-mastery so that I could be that way shower for humanity during these times. And so it has not been an easy journey for me. Being shown the darkness and the light is not an easy task. And so I was given this task, and I have just been so humble to accept this task as a way shower of God on this journey. And so, yeah, it's just my honor to show up in this way for other people. just assisting and helping them to remember their own light for me, and helping to clear, the debris, I call it, the cobwebs of all of the distortions and the negative energy that we've accumulated, right? So that we could be able to feel the love of God again, to feel spirit, to feel our soul, to feel our heart, right? And so it's just an unraveling process and a purification process where we can reconnect back to our highest spiritual selves again during this process of ascension. So
What an opening and what an introduction and what an incredible mission that you are on, Jenna. And as you rightly have indicated, it's not been easy for many of us,
mhm.
And you mentioned in your bio that you have been preparing for this for lifetimes. And, when I go back in my own life to back to even when I was a child, and I would sing light language, and I didn't know that that's what it was called.
Yeah.
But I knew that I had a special mission, and I knew that some of it, I don't know how I would have described it when I was a child, but some of it I kept secret. So I would go away and I would do it quietly so nobody else could hear. And I guess that's probably symptomatic of having to go underground in other
Yeah.
lifetimes,
Uh-huh.
and to not be seen, not to be heard, and the serious persecution that many of us have experienced through lifetimes. And I know through your beautiful posts on social media, and we're going to get really into the work that you do, you speak about the multidimensionality of us as souls, and how we have different stations of identity and how they're all playing out in the multidimensional experiences that we have. And what really piqued my interest was that you'd mentioned about your Cathar remembrances. And I too resonate with the Cathars and the Essenes. So I would love if you could, Jenna, just to explain. I believe this life right now is probably the most important because this is boots on the ground doing the mission. But it's also important to remember and have soul retrievals and soul remembrances of who we are as a multidimensional soul, because it's all part of who we are, isn't it?
Mm.
So I
Yes.
would love, love, love if you could share a little bit more about your multidimensional self and maybe a bit about your Cathar lives that you've experienced and the trauma I'm sure that you've experienced.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, as many know, and starting to come back online to our remembrance is that, we have been living within this third dimensional reality for eons and eons of time. So, we haven't had access to our higher stations of identity. And so, naturally, we are an angelic Christos human race that carries a 12-strand DNA diamond sun template, which means that we have access to 12 dimensions. And so we have been living in the third dimension. And unfortunately, this dimension was hijacked by negative invaders that had put a frequency offense around this dimension and kept us blocked from our direct connection to source and our Godhead. And
Mhm.
so this kept us disconnected from our memories of who we are, where we come from, right? All of the things that we are, our true divinity has been blocked from us. And so we've basically just been living in this box, thinking that we are just the physical body and that's it, and not having access to our higher spiritual identities. And so during this time of ascension, we are starting to unravel and remember who we are prior to this fall, prior to the frequency fences. And we are starting to pierce the veil beyond everything we ever thought we knew about ourselves and about creation. And so what's happening is we are starting to slowly tap into higher dimensions. So the more light that we embody, the more spiritual mastery that we do on ourselves, clearing away the negativity, the toxicity, the distortions, the miasma, right? All the entities, all of the things that have been attached to us in our lower center emotions, which is our personality matrix. So this is the first, second, and third chakra that we've all been really confined to, right? This is all of our fear and our separation and our grief and the trauma and the pain that we've been carrying. That densification of those emotions have kept us basically trapped within our lower center emotions. And this has blocked us from accessing our higher stations of identity. And so now during this ascension, we have a lot more plasma light coming onto the planet. And we are all healing at rapid levels, whether we want to or not. We are being forced and pushed to heal and face ourselves and face our trauma. And so the more healing that we do, it's like we're peeling away slow the layers and layers of buildup of dust or cobwebs or debris that has been layered over top of our knowing and our divinity. And then we are starting to now access higher dimensions, higher stations of identity in which we have existed. So past, present, and future all exist simultaneously. And so we're starting to now tap into our memories of Lemuria, Atlantis, Hyperborea, Egypt, all of these beautiful states that we've once existed in. Okay. And so a lot of these memories are starting to come online now. And this is very, very intense, especially to those who don't know what's going on. So let's take your average person who's still very much a 3D state of consciousness. They don't really know about our ascension, right? And they might not be accessing as much light as someone like you and I are because we're doing the work and we're raising our consciousness and vibration. But these people are still having changes happen to their body, to their DNA. They're starting to have things happen in their dream state. And there's a lot of confusion taking place on the planet right now. So me in particularly, I have tapped in a long time ago when I started to rapidly raise my frequency and my Kundalini. And where it happened for me was really just doing the shadow work. It was when I started to really get in deep to the trauma layers. And I really started to face them, witness them, understand them, and work on the healing of them, that my higher self granted me more access to my higher stations of identity. Okay. So there's that saying that we're only given what we can handle. And what that means is it's based on frequency and vibration. So the more light that we accrete in our body, the more we raise our awareness and our frequency, the more we're going to be able to tap into those other aspects of ourselves. And so with the Cathar incarnation, I'm going to try not to cry when I talk about it because it goes through every cell of my body. So years ago, I started to have panic attacks and I started to have a lot of anxiety. And any time that I was like around like excessive heat, or like I would be sitting in front of a bonfire, or even in my house, like if the heat was on too high, I started to feel like I was suffocating. And I've actually had this trauma ever since I was a child. I remember that I always would be like, Mommy, I can't breathe. I can't breathe. Anytime that there was like too much heat. And obviously I didn't know what that was. And so I started to tap into my memories through my dream state, where I was burnt at the stake. I was burned in fires. And I started to really tap into those cellular memories of those traumatic events for me. Okay. And then I was realizing that I was actually reliving them in real time in my body. So as I started to uncover more and more and more, I started to have recollection of me being a Cathar. I started to really connect into my mother of dragons, Sophia lineage, of really being basically what I am now, a speaker and a way shower and a holder of wisdom and knowledge that I protected and guarded with my life, and that I stood up on the podium and I just kept sharing with everybody the power of their light and their divinity, and I would get persecuted for that. And so these memories now are starting to come online more and more and more, and they're becoming even more emotional for me because I'm actually starting to see even clearer pictures of when I was in that timeline, right? And so this is the process of our unraveling. It is, we are starting to access different pieces of ourselves to remember who we are. And then we are able to retrieve those soul fragments and those pieces and collect them so that we can be whole again, right? And we can fix, all of these fragments in our soul. And it's also bringing us closer to the truth of, who we are as these star seeds, as these Essenes, as these Magi Grail kings and queens on the planet that are here right now to help restore the planet back to its original divine architecture. So,
Wow. I just find it so amazing that we are all finding each other again. We've had lifetimes of challenges, adversity put in our way, but here we are all refinding each other, reconnecting, all on our divine mission to really see this through this time.
mhm.
And even as you were speaking those words, I could feel the ripples going through my body, Jenna. It's almost like the activation of remembrance for me
Yes.
at another level of my
Mhm.
soul as well. And it's just so beautiful because what I truly believe in is that we've been sold so many illusions, haven't we? We've been sold so many illusions. And the frequency fans that you're talking about to restrict us, keep us in fear, keep us in slave mode, so that we wouldn't remember who we truly were, what our divine blueprint really was, or I call it the gold print.
Yeah.
And through all of this deep work, we are remembering who we are, and it's so empowering to come back to the truth of who we are. And what I love is that we have left ourselves breadcrumbs along the way.
Mhm.
And these breadcrumbs show up in our life as divine synchronicities. So even just, I found you on Instagram, you were talking to, oh gosh, Andrew Genovese
Okay. Yeah.
Lionheart. I think I
Yeah.
pronounced his name correctly. That was how I first saw you, was on his Instagram. You were doing a
Nice.
live, and I'm like, I know her. I recognize her. I was like, oh my goodness, it's that deep knowing, that deep remembrance. And that was why I reached out to you. I thought, I must have you on my podcast because I would love to reconnect. So we've been really clever. We've left ourselves these breadcrumbs to find each other again, to power
Mhm.
up once more, to work in synergy, to
Mhm.
help elevate the consciousness on the planet and of humanity. And it's just so beautiful. I mean, some of the things I've experienced, you can't even make up. And I'm sure you've got like tons and tons
Yes.
and tons of examples. But
Yeah.
let's go back to what's really become apparent to me as you mentioned the Mother of Dragons there. And this is another beautiful divine synchronicity. So I read Kyra's Sophia code years ago now, and it really activated me, but at that time I wasn't really working with dragon frequencies.
Yeah.
And just recently, I was getting information. I actually had a beautiful journey. I went into a meditative state and I went on a journey, and my dragon wasn't outside of me. I had embodied my dragon, and I could see through the sort of kaleidoscopic eyes. I was like, whoa, what was that? That was kind of cool. I'd love to experience that again. And then shortly after that, I'm involved with a lot of work as you are, grid work, and it's all love. And I was guided to go to a certain church in Edinburgh, which is 20 minutes from my home.
Alhambra?
Edinburgh,
Oh, okay.
the capital of Scotland here.
Yes.
So it's my accent, Jenna. You'll probably find it difficult to
I love
understand.
your accent. It's so cute.
Thank you.
That's boring.
We say our R's really strongly in Scotland. So I trusted what I was given. I got on the bus, I went to Edinburgh, visited this church, which I'd never been to before. And all over this church are dragons.
Wow.
The front door is the scales of dragons. Above the door, it's supposedly St. Peter holding a lamb. It was a baby dragon. I'll
Wow.
send you these photos afterwards.
Yes, please.
There are dragons on the 3 spires on this church as well. It's called St.
Wow.
Mary's Church in Edinburgh. And of course, that's the Holy Trinity. Trinity of
Yes.
the Holy Cosmic Mother, Holy Cosmic Father, and the Holy Cosmic Child. And it fascinated me why there were so many references to dragons. I had other amazing experiences in the Roslyn Chapel as well, which is on the Rose Line, which is a dragon line, as we know.
Nice.
So I'm really following now my intuition more than I ever did before. I don't understand all of the nods and the breadcrumbs that I get, but I'm just lovingly accepting that this is divine guidance and that there's work that I need to do. And I guess some of it's becoming clearer as I go forward. But now what I understand is that Gaia, who was previously Tara, we are helping her to ascend back to Sophia, that creatress. Beautiful divine blueprint. I would love, love, love from your perspective, Jenna, if you could talk into more about. I was born in the year of the dragon as well. I should mention that. I was born in 76. So,
Oh,
so
nice.
dragon energy, I'm like, oh, this is amazing. So I would love from your perspective if you could talk more about why it's so important that we remember the dragon lineages, particularly those of Crystal Sophia.
So, from my deep understanding, is that the original architecture of our entire creation was placed on what's called the cosmic Christos dragon teachings. And these are directly from our Emerald Order founder races who created the angelic Christos human race within our universal time matrix. And our creators, the progenitors of our creation in this universal time matrix are the Lyrans. And so I don't, you're going to notice that there's going to be a lot more talk about the Lyrans and starseed Lyrans, and everybody's going to start feeling their connection back to our creators, and so we're also now starting to tap back into the dragons. Now, the dragons are bodies that are encompassing all of the light, the frequency, the sound, the consciousness of our universe. These are light beings that are our creator beings that are choosing dragon bodies to basically get around in matter, throughout the universe. And so our creators had placed 13 dragon nodes in the planet. There's dragon eggs, dragon wings in the planet, and they put that here so that their consciousness would always be a part of this planet and a part of us. And, I don't know if you've heard of the Emerald Covenant, but yes. So basically, there was always a potential of creation to fall in the phantom matrix, right? So we live in this 15-dimensional time matrix. And so we start from spirit, we drop down in density, and then we go back up to spirit again, right? It's the process of creation. And so there was always a chance that we would get stuck in the lower realms, stuck in the lower dimensions, as part of the process of our evolution. But unfortunately, we got hijacked from negative influences. So that's a whole other story that we could probably talk for hours about.
Yes.
Right? I mean, it goes so deep.
Well,
But in some,
part two, Jenna.
yeah, it's right, part two. But in summary to that, the dragon consciousness, as well as sacred grids that our creators put here on the planet. There's several grids. There's like the golden eagle grid, the great white lion grid that holds the seraphim consciousness, right? So we have the Elohai, the Seraphi. These are our creator gods that have, manifested in dragon bodies. And so these dragon teachings stem from our true creators and founders. And so when you look in the ancient walls of, like you're saying, there's in Scotland, as a matter of fact, what I understand is that during this time of ascension, we are being returned to the King Arthur timeline. There's a big energy of King Arthur coming back online.
Yeah.
And he is being in hierogamic union with 𝗠𝗣𝗪𝗔𝗚, right? So there's this connection of that taking place. And so this King Arthur return is basically the second coming of Christ, if you will, right? The Christos. And it is supposedly happening in the Albion, and it's also happening in the United Kingdom, Scotland, Ireland, and France. And so the original cosmic Christos dragon teachings were first held by the Catholic Church, by the Celtic Church, not the Catholic Church, not the Catholic Church. They're the bad guys.
That's part two.
That's part two
of the negative agenda.
Exactly. They were held by the Celtic Church. And so, you know, the Catholic Church and that whole story, you know, all of these sacred teachings have been stolen and hijacked and manipulated to be held against us, you know, and again, we can go deeper on that, but the dragon energy is coming back online because we are all awakening again to the truth of who we are. And the architecture of our creation is being restored to Trinity consciousness from bi-wave consciousness. So we've been living in duality, polarity, right? And segregation and separation. And so we are being restored back to the true Trinity, the cosmic Christos, the mother, the father, the Christos, Sophia. And so during these times, as many of you know, we are being returned to the divine feminine, the Sophia, the divine architecture of the mother principle of creation, because this mother principle, mother of dragons, was removed from our universal time matrix. And unfortunately, the negatives inserted a dark mother consciousness overlay in which we've all been connected to for eons of time, right? This is a more lunar matrix, lunar consciousness identity that overwrote our true solar consciousness. And so this dragon energy has been reactivated within the dragon nodes of the planet. And all through this year, they're going to be coming online drastically. Now, what's beautiful about this is that humans are basically replicas of the planet. So we basically carry the same system as her. And so we are interfacing with Mother Earth. We are interfacing with the entire solar system and the planets and each other. And so the more that humanity awakens, the more that we become activated and anchor in more light, the more these grids come back online. So it's like a simultaneous, beautiful dance that's taking place. So the grids are coming back online, the crystalline grids, the Albion light body, all the architectures being restored through the dragon energy, through the mother energy, the Sophia energy is all coming back online to the beautiful, perfect Trinity. And we are being activated, and then Earth is being activated simultaneously. So the more rapidly humanity awakens, the more we keep remembering who we are, right? This awakening, the more these codes and keys will be activated. And that's what's happening. And so this year, I foresee a major activation happening. Not only is there going to be a lot of adversity still in the years ahead, especially this year, because as you know, we have a lot still we need to work through, right? We haven't gotten through the true eye of the needle yet, because the entire planet has to be, all the old systems just have to crumble.
Well, yeah, they do.
They have no choice.
Burn to the ground.
Exactly.
Yep.
And so that we haven't gotten there yet. And so we are holding up right now the fort, you know, with our light, but there's going to be a point where the trajectory is going to shift and everything is going to really just be on the world stage at large. And this has to happen because the old has to fall for the new to be built. But the difference between now and let's say eons ago is that we now are awake. We have the codes and the light and the knowing and the keys inside of us that are being activated once again. And the light is way too bright on planet Earth right now for this not to work. We are already on the Ascension timeline. And so as this continues to unravel and unfold, there are teams of us, just teams of light, just all anchoring and stabilizing the grids for this to occur. And so just adding to that dragon energies, it's a very powerful, engulfing energy that is coming here to reclaim its territory, to reclaim its creation.
Mm-hmm. Oh my goodness. Honestly, I can't tell you how much my heart has been activated right now, Jenna. Honestly, I'm like, oh, come back down, Kelly. Oh gosh, there is so much I want to come back on to explore a bit further with you. So I mentioned Edinburgh and that church that, I'd gone to. So that is on the spine of Albion. So
Yes.
Edinburgh is one of the 33 nodal points on the spine of Albion. And of course, we have 33 vertebrae in our spine. So when you're talking about our body is no different to Gaia Sophia, the planetary body, because we are her in
Yes.
a different expression, if you like, where there is no separateness. So there are many of us that are being called around the world to do our bit, to do our light work, to do our grid work. And just this morning, I was the light language that I mentioned earlier when I was a little girl. I was actually standing ironing at the time. I was ironing my clothes, and this dragon lullaby started to come out. And I was like, oh, wow. Now, I'm not a singer, Jenna. I believe we can all sing, but I wouldn't class myself as a singer. And I'm like, oh, wow. And this lullaby kept looping. So I'm currently working with my dragon crystalline egg,
Nice. Your dragon egg.
my dragon egg, and I've got my dragon here. And yeah, so this beautiful lullaby came out and I recorded it and I shared it with a beautiful soul who I do work with, a dear sister that I do work with. And I believe it's going to be, along with some others, put onto one of her tracks because she's a sacred songstress and she very much carries and embodies the Divine Mother frequencies too.
Nice.
So when you see how it's all just weaving together and how it's just dropping in, and it's like it blows my mind and it blows my heart wide open. You're like, you couldn't make this up.
I know.
And there's a beautiful site close to where I live that we sometimes go for a walk. And there's beautiful waterfall there. And I was playing one of Stellar's tracks, and it's called Sophia. And my husband and I had the dog for a walk and we were playing this music and I was sitting in meditation and I could see with my physical eyes, and I'm so glad that I managed to capture this image, but I was gifted a cosmic crystalline dragon egg. I could see it with my eyes. I'm like, this is absolutely crazy. Like,
Wow.
I think my friends who, we all live 3D lives still to a certain extent.
Yeah.
I think they think I've lost the plot, like I've actually lost my mind. I'm like, no, honestly, this is amazing. It's amazing. But I just love these heart-opening, heart-awakening conversations with sisters like yourself because, what I'm beginning to understand is that I have been doing this for lifetimes too. I think I'm just a newbie, that I've just started a couple of years ago. But the acceleration of information, downloads, remembrances, it's actually hard to keep up. It's like, we're here.
It's a lot.
It's an awful lot. And so, yeah, coming back to
Sorry.
the work that, don't know, I am absolutely loving all of this. Please don't apologize. I want you to keep it coming, Jenna. So if I go back to what you said about King Arthur and Guinevere, King Arthur, a lot again of what we've been sold about the myth and the story isn't quite right. And again, it's thinking about I do believe that there are people who are the living embodiments, they're fractals of these lineages, for
Mhm.
sure. But it's a frequency, isn't it? It's the returning of, like you say, the Holy Cosmic Mother, the Holy Cosmic Father, and the Holy Cosmic Child in Trinity, and how we embody that within us.
Mhm.
So this spine of Albion and the dragon lines that are awakening on the planet are helping to reactivate and remind so many souls of who they truly are.
That's right.
And like you say, it goes back to the Celtic, even the pre-Celtic teachings. And people talk about fairies. It's the fair people. It's the fae. They
Yes.
carried the pure essence whilst they were here as well, and they're still
Yeah.
here, as we know. I'm going all over
Yes.
the place now because I'm just like, oh my goodness,
It's so exciting. I
yeah.
so connect into the Fae. I definitely was a fairy.
Oh,
I have a fairy energy for sure.
you really do. It's so gorgeous, so gorgeous. And I'm promising myself that I'll go and visit Skye this year because they have fairy pools on the Isle of Skye. And there's
Nice.
fairy rings there as well. And from what I understand, ceremonies, of course, would have taken place, but it was almost like courts, that they would sit in court in these beautiful circles of unity. So, oh gosh, honestly, I could talk about so many
It's so,
things.
I know there's so many trees to this tree of life.
Oh
It's like
gosh, yeah.
branches. There's definitely so much. And I always tell, when people work with me, it can be so overwhelming because we're all very excited, but we just have to still understand, we have to keep it in perspective, right? We
Yeah.
have so much work to do. And
Mhm.
we are cleansing and clearing so much out of our bodies and our cells. And so, as this light comes onto the planet and our remembrance is coming onto the planet of all the beauty, we're also remembering a lot of the trauma, right?
Yes.
And so, as a polarity integrator, this is one thing that I have been doing for a long time, is that integration of the polarity. It's just helping people understand that when these layers start coming back online, it could be bittersweet because we have been through so much trauma on this planet because we are holding one of the most sacred and sophisticated of all DNA in the universe. The diamond sun DNA is so highly sought after from the negative races because it has the ability to become fully Christed when activated. And we have the ability to become divine gods within these human bodies. So the potency and the power that we all carry within us is unbelievable. And it makes so much sense why these negative beings would want a piece of this. And
Yes.
so they've done everything that they can to destroy it in every way possible. And so we are reclaiming all of the pieces that was ours, right? So it is a lot of work. It's very heavy, it's very intense. At the same time, it's also very beautiful. And such is creation, right? There's that light and dark aspect that we're always reminded of, right? And so and I always tell people, like, we obviously, the love and the light and the frequency, we want to focus on our highest timeline, and we don't want to get caught in any fear. And
Yeah.
as we start to remember who we are, we become more fearless because we know our divinity, we know our power. And then with that knowing of our power, when all of the trauma starts coming to the surface and all of these horrible memories
Mhm.
and the scary things start happening in the external world, we're not afraid of it anymore because we know that we are reclaiming our power and that we have God inside of our DNA and nothing can knock us down. And as long as we stay connected to that light and to that knowing of our power, that fearlessness, we will always be protected. Moving forward, we will always be protected. And
Ah,
that is what helps to activate the DNA. And it puts that shield of light around us, right? Because fear is definitely, the devil. And so staying out of fear is so critical during these times. So that way we can let in that light more and we can keep remembering all these beautiful things about who we are.
Absolutely. I
right? And
couldn't agree
it's,
more. I love what you recently posted about the polarity integration, because
yes,
there are some people who will do spiritual bypassing, who only look at the light. And
many.
you quite rightly said at the very start about the shadow work, all the shadow work that we have had to integrate, embody, own, and also in our own shadow work, and not always point the finger of blame at others, because we are one collective, of course.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And to lovingly embrace that and to bring that back home to 0 point within the heart. And it's not easy. It's tough,
Mm-mm.
isn't it? And I love how you talk about, um, the challenge of all of this. It hasn't been easy. And I just love the realness and the authenticity that you bring to this work, because that's, for me, what makes you so credible as well, Jenna. That's what I so resonate with and so admire. You come on and do these beautiful lives, and you share so generously from your heart, but you speak your truth, and you talk
Yes,
about the challenges and how you bring everything back to love.
that's
And I
right.
love how you've reinforced the point that we cannot allow ourselves to stay in fear, because that's what keeps us enslaved, and that's what keeps
Mm-hmm.
us powerless.
That's
And
right.
that's where we then are relying on others to lead us forward. And we are the ones that we've been waiting for.
That's
We
right.
are these beautiful Christic beings, and we're bringing back, we're letting go of the loosh, the miasma, and bringing everything back to crystalline, and working with plasma light. We're bringing everything back to the crystalline embodiment of who
That's
we
right.
truly are, which is
That's
so,
right.
so beautiful.
Yes.
Now, before I pressed record today, you said, "Oh, I love your emerald colour, your green jumper," and I do too. And you mentioned the Emerald Order, and our founders of humanity, and you mentioned the Lyrians as well. And I know that many of us are involved with the repair of the Lyran portal gateway as well, which is such an important mission. But if we come back to just keeping this really simple, the Emerald Heart, that cathedral within, and you have the most beautiful membership that you've just started. I would love, love, love for you to share a little bit about who that is here to serve and what people can learn through your beautiful new membership.
Oh, of course. Yes. Thank you for bringing that up. So I created the Emerald Heart Tribe because during these times of our ascension, there's so much confusion. And I have a lot of clients every week that I just absolutely love to assist and help. But I am noticing that we are shifting very rapidly right now. And so, like I said to you before, is as amazing as it is as challenging as it is. And so many people have so many questions, and they're starting to feel very confused and nervous and even very alone in this process. And, from my own perspective, my first awakening was in 2007. And I started to really rapidly awaken, and then through 2012, and I didn't have anybody that I can talk to, because at that time, as being like a second waver of ascension, no one really knew what any of this was. And so anytime that I tried to bring up something to someone, they literally thought I went off the deep end. And thank God that I have my twin. I have been with my twin flame for 15 years now, and he and I have been on this
Oh,
journey simultaneously together.
so you're
So
the hierogamic union
yes,
here on the
yes.
earth. Oh, how
15 years. We
amazing.
do this work together simultaneously. And again, that's a whole other podcast
Yeah.
as well. And so thank God he and I had one another to reflect off of, but it was not easy for us. We felt very alone. We lost our friends, we lost our family. I walked away from my music career. He walked away from his career. Everything changed, and it was so scary. But I found my way out of that with my own inner compass. Okay. So I wanted to create the Emerald Heart Tribe. It's just a beautiful, safe, sacred container where we can all gather our hearts. We can talk and share our perspectives and our stories. And I can provide some ascension wisdom and education for all who join, and answer any questions that people have. And I want people to feel seen and heard,
Mhm.
and feel loved and nurtured and supported on this ascension journey. And I wanted to just create a monthly outlet and a very simple, beautiful offering that people can feel that they have that outlet, and so, yeah, it means so much to me because, again, one of my traits is that very loving motherly energy where I feel like I don't have children in this lifetime because I feel like humanity is all my child. Like I'm like mothering the world. And I just want people to feel, loved and supported during this journey. And, there's a lot of people in the spiritual community that, like we said, they bypass number one, but also what I'm noticing that is a little disappointing to me is that they're riding the waves of the high vibes, but they're leaving behind all of the people that they say are 3D. Now, I'm not saying that we enmesh with people that are holding a lower consciousness, but there are people in the 3D that are having a very, very hard time and they need help too. Maybe not fully 3D, let's say 3D, 4D, they're starting to wake up and they're confused. They might still be carrying a lot of negativity and trauma, but I am a spirit guide and I came here on this planet to assist all who want the help. And that's how I see it. We can't leave them behind. If they want to grow and evolve and ascend and understand what's going on the planet, then I am here to help and offer that guidance and assistance to them because we are all one here. We are all family. And if you hurt, I hurt. And so, I used to have a little bit of that hero savior thing when I first woke up, like I'm going to save everybody and wake everybody up.
Same.
But I got over that, right? It's like, because you just want everybody, but I
Yes.
got over that. And I
Yes.
am no longer in a hero savior role.
Yes.
However, I do believe it is important to be a beacon of light for everyone,
Yes.
even those that are lost in the dark. They need us.
Yes.
They need us. And if they wake up and have an ascension, how amazing would that be to actually help someone that you didn't think was going to choose ascension. And now all of a sudden they're like awake and they're feeling amazing.
Yeah.
So anyway, I went on a little rant there.
Oh, so beautiful. And you are such a divine emissary of pure love. And so you really do hold that mother frequency, that divine mother frequency. And that's what a mother would do, unconditionally love all of our children, all of the souls that are here.
Yes.
Because when we come from a place of zero judgment, which is really hard, because we do
Yes.
judge, of course we judge, we can't
Yeah.
totally not judge. I catch myself all the time, but we judge ourselves so harshly as well. It's been part of the human programmed conditioning that we've all experienced, and that's part of the shadow that we're here to release as well. But when you can love everyone unconditionally and even love the unlovable and help them to redeem their soul,
Yeah.
there is no bigger work than that, to bring people back to love.
Always back to love. And it's not easy because, there were times where these people would pull me down because I'm an empath. And, I found myself getting pulled down into their energetic. And so not everybody can do this work. It takes very strong boundaries and knowing when you should or shouldn't, step in and step out. Like there definitely is a boundary that is created while still being an unconditional love, because you don't want to allow yourself to get pulled down in their quicksand. Right. So there's definitely a skill in that, but just holding that space to shine a light on their path in hopes that, you're going to plant a seed for them and something is just going to be activated within them. To me, that is just so important during these times, because my heart aches for everyone on the planet, because we've all been through so much pain. Think about the 3D consciousness, right? They've just been in mind control. They don't know.
Yeah.
They don't know. And it's so sad to me.
Yeah. And it continues, the mind control through the AI, and so many people don't understand how their children are being affected through gaming, through the music industry, through it's just perpetual bombardment of negative stuff. And so you only know what you know, right? And when people start to at least start to question things, or they start to tune into their inner wisdom, and they're ready to perhaps see another point of view, then there are beautiful souls like yourself and myself, you know, that are here
Yes.
to lovingly hold that space and guide people. And I guess you'll come from the same point, I'm sure, of belief that I do, Jenna. I shouldn't assume that, but for me, we're taking people forward into a new paradigm, let's say, of empowerment, where we truly can heal ourselves. We might need someone to hold the space for
Mhm.
another and facilitate the healing. But gone are the days where we have experts and gurus on a pedestal, and I am relying on you to fix
That's right.
me.
Right.
I've seen so much of that through my life as well.
Mhm.
And it's time now for us to move forward and evolve into this phase of taking back our power in a loving way. And I describe myself, my friend used this analogy once and I loved it, where I'm like the handrail for people to take their own steps into their healing journey. So I'll hold you
Beautiful.
steady and I'll hold the space, and we'll, you know, together we'll
Right.
pull out by the root, you know, the trauma that's
That's
there.
right.
We'll go back to your core, we'll pull it out by the roots, and we'll clear you back to that Christic blueprint that's within you, back to your God seat. And I
It's
just feel
beautiful.
that that's so important, that people do start to take back their power, because we've forgotten how powerful we are.
Exactly. Yeah, we've given our power away. And even I'm even noticing now with the spiritual awakening movement, still a lot of people are giving their power away, and they're, going to all these, retreats and taking all these courses, and that's okay. I believe that all of these beautiful tools are there to assist us, but what I have an issue with is that people are becoming over reliant on these
Yes.
things,
Yeah.
and we're just going to fall back into the same patterns of the olden days if we're giving our power away. And so when I offer my light and my offerings to the world, I make sure that people know that I'm not here to be your savior. I am here to hold your hand and to help you to awaken to your own power. So basically, we're just activators and reminders.
Yeah.
We're reminding you, and
Yeah.
we're just assisting you. We're not going
Absolutely.
to do the work for you,
Yeah.
but together, just the power that we're creating in reminding people of their own light is really why we are here. Because we can get into that topic of like the whole organized religion and all of
Mhm.
those topics where everyone was looking for something outside of themselves to save them.
Yeah.
And during this time of ascension, it's all about in ourselves, taking back that power, reclaiming
Absolutely.
our throne.
Absolutely. And that is the divine mother frequency right there,
Yes.
speaking the truth. I love it. I love it. I love it. Ashna, I could talk to you for hours. I'm saying
Yes.
Ashna because it's obviously the heart, Jenna. I just love
Yes.
that you use that in your name. I can't thank you enough for coming on today. And I hope that I can have you back again sometime as well. We can maybe have a
Absolutely.
chapter two and a chapter three,
Yes.
because
Part two.
honestly, I could go all over the place with you.
There's
I feel
so
like
much to talk about, Kelly. There's
I
so
know,
much.
barely scratched the surface.
I know.
So I would love, 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 Jenna, if you can just finish this beautiful conversation with telling people how they can find you and how they could
Sure.
step in to work with you. So we've heard about your membership, but you also have other offerings as well.
Absolutely. Yeah. So if anybody listening would love to join my Emerald Heart Tribe, it is on my website, which is soulharmonics.org. And I have a lot of beautiful offerings and healing modalities on there. I have a ton of free videos on my YouTube channel that I'm teaching ancient wisdom teachings, galactic history. I have free advanced meditations. My Instagram channel is Jenna Ajna Love. You're going to be leaving some links
I'll leave
in
them
here,
all
right?
down
So
below the
right.
episode.
So
Yeah.
check out the links. I offer my knowledge and wisdom. I have my offerings, and I do courses and have these beautiful things, because I do believe that we are all working with each other and helping each other, on this journey. But I also believe that I'm here as a conduit to just relay as much information as I possibly can. So I do give away just a lot of free things and spiritual tools and assistance for your journey. But I would love to work with you if you feel connected. just check out my website and my YouTube channel and my Instagram and sign up for my free newsletter. I highly recommend my free newsletter, which you're a part of.
I highly recommend it.
A lot of juicy information monthly in those
Amazing.
newsletters.
Just
So
beautiful, yeah. Oh, Jenna, thank you so, so much. This has just been so wonderful and so
yes,
heartwarming for me, to connect into your energy today and to have this
yes.
beautiful conversation. And I know that everybody tuning in today will have got so much from this. So please, please, please check out Jenna. All the links will be down below. And I really hope to connect with you again. Thank you so much for coming on, Jenna.
Thank you, Kelly. I so honor you. Thank you for everything that you are and you do for the world as well, and for shining your light so beautifully.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank,
Thank you.
thank you, Kelly. Thank you, everyone that's watching.